and it's time for another journey down our trail. Welcome to Remember How It Was. We are the Washingtons, and I'm Justin Washington, and I'm with my sister,
Wambui Bahati. I used to be John Ann Washington, but I have a new name now. Anyway, we'll talk about that in another video. And so I'm here in New York City. My brother is in North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, where we were both born. There are 4 siblings. We are 2 of them. And like I always say, just because you don't see the other 2 doesn't mean they aren't here with us in spirit. I mean, they're still alive, but we're going to have them on.
Don't do that.
We're going to have them on one day real soon, at least one of them, and then the other one will come after that. Okay, so, so today we're talking about fashion in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, when we were growing up. Oh, what did you wear, brother? What did you wear? What were they wearing? Do you remember?
Well, I'm not gonna say what we were wearing. I'm gonna start off with. Let me see if I get my angle right. That we started out. I just remember seeing this board Mama used to lay out on the floor, and the pins and the patterns, because it seemed like she made everything. They made everything. They made everything. They were sewers.
They were sewers. They made everything. Just about, and up until the last few years, I remember Mama making every single thing she wore. She made a lot of the things that me and my sister wore. She taught us to sew. And I remember when we would go to get clothes when we were little, we wouldn't go to a department store. We would go to a fabric store. We go to a fabric store and you pick out the fabric that you want to have a school dress like, or you wanted to have some shorts like that. And so it was about doing your fashion shopping in the fabric store. And, and that went a long ways, because I to this day, as you see, I got a sewing machine back there. I'm so happy to have that skill. And I know when I was in high school and going into college, I just had a ball just creating stuff. Nobody had nothing like I had, because I was just like creating as I went, making it up, and putting it on. Some of it was good, some of it was not, but it was so much fun to just be able to create like that. So,
oh man, yeah, Mama's whole family sewed. I just remember them hands on the sewing machine pushing the cloth straight, and I remember the scissors. I mean, they had those crazy scissors, like pattern scissors, cutting stuff out. It was like a factory, because she would, and she was so proud of what she made. So was proud of what she made. I don't remember too much of grandma. I don't remember her too much sewing, but I know they had to get it from somewhere.
Yes, they had that Singer sewing machine with the big pedal on it that they taught us to sew on, and they loved the sewing, and they were very, like you said, very proud, even up until, I remember from very young, even up until, well, the day my mother died, she was always just very proud. I remember her having, I remember having friends over, and all of a sudden my mother would pop into the room like modeling and saying, doesn't this look good? Doesn't this look good? Isn't this a great color for me? I would be there like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? Just out of the blue, she'd be modeling and talking about, and look at this detail around the collar. Isn't that something? I did that myself. And this is lined. This is a lined dress. This is lined. And she was always so proud of that. And well, as we know, I know I'm doing so much more of the talking. I'm going to shut up in a little bit.
No.
But when it was church time,
that's precious.
We went to church. We were in church. Practically, well, we were there. I don't remember not being there.
We were there.
Because we would walk.
We were there.
Even when we didn't have a car, we would walk to church
Yeah, we were
and walk
there.
home. But we were
We
in
were there.
church, and my mother took such pride in what she wore to church that when she went to church and we came back from church, she right away started planning what she was going to wear to church the next
Yes,
week.
yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you got, yeah, I'm cheering
And it
on that.
all had to match.
It
You
was,
know, it
she
was
was,
back in the
she
days
was
when
a,
people matched.
she was, yeah,
She had
head to
had to
toe
get the
match.
right hat that went with the right pocketbook, that went with the right gloves, that went with the right shoes, and it had to be just so. And everything had to match.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and brother, the other thing I remember is gloves. We wore gloves. The children, we wore gloves to church. When we were
Yeah,
dressing up, if we were dressing up to go anywhere, we had gloves on. It was like we wore gloves.
yeah. That
I
was part of the
remember,
uniform.
yes, and Bennett College, which is historically Black university in Greensboro for women, Bennett College, I remember those girls would get in trouble with with their college if they were seen downtown without their gloves and their hat. You know, so that's where we're coming from.
Yeah, yeah. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because like I had forgot about that pose. Yeah, she would
Yeah.
come out. She would come out the hallway and just just break it down. She wasn't a shy
Now,
woman. She
now the
wasn't
thing
shy.
was, you know, I have spoken about my mother at different events because I believe our mother was just as fascinating woman. But
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
we were butting heads like this,
yeah,
but
yeah.
she was just fabulous because my mother did not have a problem complimenting herself. She was not one to wait for you to say, "Oh, you look good. Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
idea."
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
she would
yeah.
say, "Oh, don't I look good? I know
Yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
good. Ain't that potato pie good? I made that myself. I made that from scratch. I know that's good."
It
So
was
she was
good.
that person who could be annoying, annoying, but
Yeah,
she didn't wait.
yeah.
She had learned, okay, you know, you just don't wait.
Oh
Don't
man,
wait for nobody. Just
she
if you
was.
think you're good, you tell yourself,
You,
I'm
you
good.
you run with it. You run with it. You
Yeah,
run
you
with it. Confidence. She had so much confidence, man,
yeah.
man. And I think about the you know, I wasn't around then, but I remember seeing the old pictures of her, my aunt, my mother, and their grandmother. They were like Charlie's Angels, man. They would break a pose in a minute. they, were,
Yes,
they were cool.
I'm going to add a lot of the photos. You sent me recently a lot of photos. I'm going to add a lot of photos in
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah,
but because a lot of people will be just listening to this, I want to say that if you're catching the video, especially at the end of the video, I'm just going to pack it full of photographs there, but I am going to disperse them throughout when I can. But at the end
yeah,
of this
yeah.
podcast, if you want to just hang on and see the videos, and for those of you who are just listening, if you want to catch the video form on YouTube or at our website, you can catch the video and you'll be able to see the pictures of our family all
Yeah.
fashioned up.
Fashion,
Because
fashion.
daddy,
Oh, Daddy was cool. Always had the
he,
hat. Always had the fedora. Always had the
but
fedora.
you, but the men at that time, the men and the women, I got to say the men and the women in the 50s and 60s, they were dressed, everybody was clean. Everybody was clean. You
You
know,
know,
guys
we
had belts.
yeah,
Remember
we
the
left
belt?
that era. I remember the belt. We left that era somehow. I don't know how we left that era, but I remember Daddy and all his friends buttoned up shirts, slacks, and they always look. And today, if I put on a shirt and slacks like that, people say, "Where you going?" Daddy will put that on
Exactly.
and sit on the couch.
No. Well, our father was a mail handler at the post office.
Yes, 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 yes.
Baby, when our father left our house to go to the post office, you would think he owned the post office.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I remember, I don't know if you had to, but I know me and Roberta, we were taught to iron those creases in his pants.
Well, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. He was
And
just
we were
sharp.
not
shirt.
finished
Always wore a
ironing.
white shirt.
White shirt, pressed, I mean crisp, crisp. And those creases were so sharp that those pants could stand up by themselves. You weren't done till those pants could stand up by themselves.
He was that guy. He just left always like I said, he just left the house like he was going somewhere, some meeting or something like that. He was going to hang out.
He was but I don't know it. But I think it was a thing in our community. I remember that, for instance, the women, at least in our community, I never saw a woman out in public in rollers or who, like, I remember Mama would be going around the corner to the corner store and she'd be fluffed, lipstick done. And like, Mama, where you going? Say, I'm going around to get some milk.
Yeah, it was a thing. You had to look right. Like I said, we talked earlier about we didn't have so much, but we always looked like we had a lot.
Yes. She was able to pull it together. And to this day, like how you say, when you have on a shirt and slacks, people think, well, a lot of times I still get, do you think you're a little overdressed? Or why are you dressed like that? And I remember going to a certain job where the people were actually mad at me. It's like, why are you dressed like that? It's like, this is how I roll. I can't stop. I can't stop it. It's like, this is how I roll.
I catch myself. It would be a simple event, and I don't know how to dress. I say, I know what I want to wear, but I got to think about it because I don't want to be overdressed. So we got that.
I've given up. I just do it. I just go. I'm just overdressed all the time. You know what, brother? I do not own one pair of jeans. I do not have any jeans. I think
I own one pair.
I do not have any jeans. Julie, my youngest daughter mentioned this morning when I told her we were going to be talking about fashion. She said, well, you got to talk about the pantyhose and how we lost that. Remember, everybody wore stockings. It was like considered bad form if your legs were bare. And so you had to have stockings. And then I don't know what year when the pantyhose came, but it was like bad form even for the little ones to have bare legs. You had to have stocking. And sometimes I'm looking at my grown daughters and they'll be going somewhere and I say, you ain't gonna wear no stockings? But I just remember that was a thing. That was a thing.
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you if you remember this. Mama, because she used to always talk about her home ec teacher throughout the year from the school. She went to Dillard High School. She always talked about her home ec teacher. That was her.
Dillard High School in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And she used to always talk about that home ec teacher and how she learned everything from her. But something about the button. Mama couldn't do something with a button. And Roberta took a class in sewing at Dudley. And she came home and showed Mama about a button. No, what the button? The zipper. The zipper. That's what it was. The zipper. Somehow when they was in her school, when she was at school, they did buttons in her school. And Roberta learned how to do the zipper. So that Mama went zipper crazy.
Yes, I remember her going, and you know what I think it was? I think it was she just didn't have the zipper foot. You know how you need that right tool in order to make something work? And there's something called the zipper foot. And I think that's what she was missing, because once you have the zipper foot, it just everything lines up. So once she got that, she went zipper crazy. And but she, I love crafts, and when I think about it, our mother was a crafter too. Remember her taking macrame and all these.
Oh man, I remember her taking an upholstery class.
She was very much into crafting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so yes. So let's see. What do we? Easter time was
Oh,
huge.
Easter time. Easter time, you guys was fly. You guys was fly. I was, she didn't make suits, but I remember one time, so our aunt she made a shirt one time for me. I remember that
Hmm.
she found a pattern and made a couple of shirts for me. But I remember
Okay.
Mama was she used to make the skirts, the dresses. You guys was homemade all day, every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I told her I was going to have to do something at school that was special, next thing I know, she had me a dress made for that occasion. You know what
Yeah.
I want to talk about too a little bit was school, because now by the time you came along, you were no longer at Dudley High School. You didn't go to Dudley. You were
I
bused to
I got
Grimsley.
bust. I got bust out. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't. This is what I remember about Dudley. I'm not saying it didn't happen at Grimsley, but at Dudley, I remember the teachers dressed. I remember the teachers in their suits or shirtwaist dresses, and they were always put together. The teachers always, and I don't know how to. They had those heels on all day long when they weren't slipping in the sneakers and stuff. They were in those shoes, those heels all day. And
Well,
what I
I can
know,
well I can say this. I know that when I went to Grimsley, a lot of that times, a lot of the teachers came
mhm,
over too, and I know they were dressed quite different from their counterparts. It's like what you said. I didn't see that
more
at Dudley, but I saw
casual.
when those teachers came over from our schools and started going to the busing schools. The
Hmm.
teachers the teachers they had a little fashion show going on there. Their counterparts didn't, but they had something going on there. Our teachers
So you
look
mean,
good.
okay, let's just call it. So the white teachers were more casual. Is that
The
what you're
white teachers
saying?
more casual, and the
Yeah.
black teachers looked like they could have been going to church or going to a party.
Yeah, that's how they looked. And you know what? And they didn't demand it. They got our respect because you know what I'm saying? I just
Oh
respected how
yeah,
they looked. I know I've done some work for years, up until recently. I worked in front of what they call the front of the Broadway house, where you're where the audience is, working a job there. And I would see busloads of kids, students come to see certain shows that were on Broadway.
yeah,
And I tell you what, we could not tell who were the teachers and who were the students. And if
yeah.
you wanted to say something to the teacher, you would have to say, which was almost embarrassing, who are, where are the teachers? And it's like, that was a question that you never had to ask when we were in school. You knew who the teachers were, because they were, you know, with their pocketbook and in their heels
Oh
and
yeah,
fluffed
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah,
you know, the,
yeah,
but we,
yeah.
today, especially when they're high school students, you don't know, you don't know who the teachers
Well,
are because,
I remember going when I was at Caldwell School and Gillespie School. I remember all the men wore ties all the time, unless you was a
yes,
gym teacher. You wore a tie all
yeah,
the time. You didn't necessarily have a jacket, but you had that tie shirt, but you was buttoned up, and you was ready for that profession.
you always had a tie.
Nowadays,
You always had a
yeah,
tie.
nowadays it's
And
like you just a polo shirt and however you go, you go. You
yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
not. I mean, see, like it don't. It's the call for respect. It's not automatic. Used to be
It's not
automatically
automatic. You got to earn it a little bit more because it's not
yeah.
there. But and this is not saying we're not trying to shame nobody and say that's not how it's supposed to be. Times have changed. The purpose of
Remember
our
how it was.
podcast
Remember
is
how
to
it
talk
was.
about our memories of how it was. We're just talking about how it was. We know it's
Yeah,
different. Time changes. That's
yeah,
why we have the podcast, how it was.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so the teachers were, they were just, I just thought they looked amazing. All of them just looked
I,
amazing.
I, I
So,
remember. I remember. As far as my high school years, I remember the thing was bell bottoms. You
oh,
had to
so
have
you
bell.
had gone into that
Yeah, you had to have a
because
collection of bell bottoms. Bell
because
bottoms
what
and
year did you go?
byline.
What year
I went to
were you in?
I came out of 75, so I was in the I guess I was around the John Travolta disco era. So you had
Okay.
to.
Okay, yeah.
so,
So you're at the 70s, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
so you had to
so
look like
yeah,
you
so
danced.
what were some of the things we also if I got to get back to the school for a minute, we never uh girls never wore pants to school.
No,
I never had where
no.
we never wore pants to school. And wow, when you think about that now, whew.
You know, I just thought about, you said the pants. I just thought about the girls, that one piece gym suit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Remember the one
that
piece gym
gym
suit?
suit. Yeah.
You know,
And you and you had to have your sneakers had needed to be they wanted you would be graded on what part of your grade was whether or not your sneakers were white.
yeah, yeah,
And so we
yeah.
all had these bottles of white polish in our locker, and we would just run over the sneaker with the white polish to make sure they were white, you know, and it would be coming off on your legs and everything. But you wanted
Yeah.
those when she
And,
came around, you
and,
wanted you wanted white sneakers, and yeah, that little blue gym suit was supposed to be looking nice, but a lot of times it was just all balled up in your locker, and you just
yeah,
like
yes.
trying to make.
Yeah, some are foes. I remember the
But
guys now. We used to wear. We had T-shirt and the gym shorts, and the T-shirt said Greensboro City Schools like across the chest, and the gym trunks said Greensboro City Schools. They used to give us our gym clothes back then, and
oh,
we had to
okay,
fall out.
okay,
We had to fall just like you had, just like the girls had that one piece. The guys said that
yeah.
stuff. We had to fall out like military. We all had to look alike in gym class.
Yes, yes, we did. We all had to be dressed the same, and yeah, and I remember I'm gonna call her name because I loved her so, and I Miss Di. I remember one of our gym teacher named Miss Di, and she was very she wanted us to be young ladies. She wanted us to exemplify what it was to be a young lady. Now, today in 2023. I don't. That may be offensive or to someone, but she wanted us to be, ladies. And there were all those. Well, I'm getting off, but I remember
Yeah,
there were all those the cotillion, the jabberwock, all these things where
yeah,
young girls would enter that and show up
yeah,
in your gown, and it was just it was
yeah.
just a good time, good memories. But just very different from what is going on today in 2023. So,
Yeah. You know,
because
I know. I'm just laughing. I'm just thinking about. I'm still thinking about all the clothes Mama made. I'm still thinking about, man.
she was a sewing wonder. She was a
I
sewing
remember. I
wonder, and
remember.
she.
Remember at church, she was used to enter the fashion shows. She
Oh
was
my
she was in
goodness!
she was in an organization at the church called
Thank
the Alert Circle, and
yes.
she was the fashion show lady. I remember I remember one family reunion. She made them have a fashion show just so she could be in it.
Yes, she was one fashion lady. She loved her clothes, and she loved looking
Yeah,
good. She loved
yeah,
smelling good because she had that Avon
yeah,
to a
yeah,
wild
yeah,
rose, so she always smelled good. But
yeah.
yeah, but those churches, yeah, we went to Providence Baptist Church. What street is Providence Baptist on?
Tuscaloosa
On
Street.
Tuscaloosa Church in Greensboro, North Carolina. Uh, yeah, I think we started off in one building when we were very young, somewhere else, and then
Well,
this building.
the building was over when we used to go to that church. I mean, first started. It was over there close to Bennett College
Yes,
by the railroad tracks. It was down the railroad tracks.
yes, yes.
And I would tell you, because I'm going to tell you about that church. The church used to have a daycare over there. I was in that daycare at Providence Church.
Okay,
They don't do it anymore. But
okay.
they used to drop me off at the daycare. Well, y'all probably used to walk me there and drop me off. But I remember
Yeah.
that was my daycare at the church, and I remember my little covey. I had a, I had a covey.
Okay. See, I didn't even know that you had gone today. But I totally did
Yeah,
not was either
yeah,
I forgot or was just not aware that you had
yeah,
gone there.
yeah,
But I do remember Then we got the new church
Yeah.
that exists now. And
Yeah. That's
so
just
yeah,
yeah.
so Mama belonged to a organization called the Alert Circle, right?
Yeah.
Alert
The
Circle.
alert
And
circle.
she was
Yeah.
also a member of the usher board.
She was the member of the usher board. Yeah. Yeah. She was. She
Because one
was.
of the things that my oldest daughter likes to wear is she still has Mama's usher board pin that says usher board, and every now and
Yeah.
then my oldest daughter will just wear it as you know jewelry.
Yeah. 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 Mom.
But yeah, they had one of their ways of raising money was to have a fashion show each year.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know what year they started that, but I do remember my mother loved that idea,
She loved
and
that. She loved that. Yeah.
she loved the fact that she got to be in it.
Well. Well,
And
you got a lot of that a lot of your drive from her. I could you did. You got a
yes,
lot
the
of her
theater.
drive. Theater,
I
yeah.
believe that if my mother had been born in a different time or to different parents or whatever, I believe she would have been I believe because she wouldn't have been she wouldn't have been like me, just an actress. Oh, she would have been, and everybody would know her
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
she was she loved performing, being entertaining,
She loved
being
it.
the center of attention. She liked, she was silly
Yeah.
in her own right, and just
Yeah.
loved
Yeah.
like some of those pictures where she's at
Yeah.
the fashion show and she's
Yeah.
modeling her clothes. Oh, and the wave! I forgot about the wave. Yes,
Yeah.
that wave. My mother
Yeah.
had this wave.
You couldn't tell her nothing, man. You couldn't tell her anything. She
Bless
she
her
she
heart.
she was well, what's the term? But when she wasn't convinced, she knew, but she knew. She just knew. She knew it was her turn. She knew it was her turn. And
Yes.
her shoes, man.
Oh my goodness.
She was
Yes.
good.
And the shoes had to match perfectly with a purse. Like it had there for every purse there was a pair of shoes that
Yeah.
went with that purse. And then for every purse and pair of shoes there was a hat. And
Yeah.
I loved how she used to say, it has to blend in. It has to blend
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so yeah, she was
Yeah.
I think
Well,
she
and
missed her
also she
calling
that
as a
thing
fashion designer.
accessorized.
I said
Accessorized.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. She
yes.
had the
So
earrings,
yeah.
the whole 9 yards. She was
Oh
and
yes.
Sue was the
Oh
same
yeah.
way. Sue was the same.
Yeah.
Their biggest competition was themselves. I mean, Sue and Mama.
Trying to outdo themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they were that
Well,
was their biggest competition.
yeah.
But
I
they
got
were
a lot
good.
of
They were good.
Aunt Thelma's I got a lot of Aunt Thelma's costume jewelry. It was fierce. Costume
Do
jewelry
you?
back in the day was like as good as like a lot of the real jewelry. I mean, it may not have been real stones, but I mean the workmanship in the costume jewelry from the 50s
Yeah.
and 60s. Wow, that was amazing stuff they were doing
Yeah.
back there. The craftsmanship, yeah. So I don't know where to go. I feel like we kind of like covered all
Okay.
bases. Is there some
Covered
place?
all bases. No, I just want to give a shout out to fashion from those time years because, like the men dress. It was totally different. The men were young. They was less like the young guys now in their 20s, but it was a different thing. It was the hat, the press shirt, and it's the way they went out. It's the way they
And
went out.
winter,
It wasn't
the
like
overcoat. The overcoat.
the overcoat.
We
Yeah,
didn't have any
yeah,
Parkers or anything like that. The men had overcoats. Well, the ladies too. All of us had overcoats. Oh, remember how you had like 3 pairs of shoes? You had Sunday shoes, you had
yeah,
school shoes, and you had play shoes. And you were not
yeah,
to mix them up because play shoes were play. And it wasn't even so much like when your old Sunday shoes became old, they would be play shoes. No, they would just be old because you needed new Sunday shoes, but Sunday shoes were usually patent leather, those patent leather shoes
Yeah,
for us,
yeah.
for the girls.
But I remember
Anyway.
I remember one time I thought mom was going to whoop me or punish me. I remember one time after school I didn't change clothes, and I went around next street over on Omaha Street, and I played with my friends, and I fell down, and I remember my shoulder, my shirt, school shirt, it got ripped. It got ripped. And I went home. I said, "Now, I gotta tell her. I gotta tell her." Anyway, I walked in the house, and she had company over, and this was cool. She had company over, and I walked in and said, "Mom, I messed up my shirt," and she said, "All right, just go on back there."
Cause you had.
And I'm like, man. I should tell her everything she has company over, because it was like I told my shirt. Now, like if it should have been by myself, I would have got the raft or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But her friend made me live.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So well, I'm going to say these are just some of our memories about fashion and what people wore, and of course, as always, when we finish a podcast, then we think now our mind is going, and I don't know about you, but I think about more and more things, and I didn't tell him about this. I forgot to tell him about this. But so there may be a part 2 to this one day. But these are just some of our memories about fashion, what people wore. Oh yeah, like the only time the girls wore pants is if you were in the band at high school and you had a band uniform. All the uniform were pant uniforms. But other than that, we never wore pants to school. But all right, so brother,
that was a different in our eras, because you was 60s, and I tagged that schools in the 70s. But that was a different in our eras. But I remember what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, brother, do you have anything else to add? If not, I'm going to wrap it up.
No. I just want to say thank you for watching. This is our memories. Hope it sparks you to have some memories, to have the conversation for your families, because the stories have to move on, and it'd be good if they hear them from you.
Hey, how about that? Thank you so much. All right, everybody, be blessed. Bye-bye.